Hello and welcome to the Football Insider Gaming channel, and today we are going to do a guide to managing Arsenal on Football Manager and everything you will be presented with when you take over the club. So we're going to go through the best of players, the best academy products they've got, the staffing situation, your transfer budgets, the balance sheet, the facilities, all that good stuff is coming up in this video. And if you enjoy this content, please leave a like, please subscribe to the channel as well, and also let me know in the comments who the players you signed at Arsenal are when you started this save. So please enjoy the video, it's coming up now. So when you first load into Football Manager as Arsenal, we can see here we're predicted to finish third in the Premier League, which I think is a little bit harsh for Arsenal. Clearly, for me, the second best team in the Premier League, but I presume it is Liverpool and Man City who are expected to finish ahead. When you load in as Arsenal, you're presented with tons of different emails, 22 million social media followers, a 75,000 season ticket waiting list. We're going to go through all the aims and expectations as things go on. But let's first look at the Arsenal squad, because that is the most interesting thing for me to look at. And let's look at the best players in this team. And number one, we have in here Declan Rice, who obviously is an absolute beast in real life and on the game. Really good physical stats, natural fitness and stamina, excellent. So he's just going to eat up minutes in every single game. His mental attributes, as you'd expect, are fantastic. 19 for teamwork, 18 decisions, excellent. And even his technical stats are very, very good as well. If we look overall at his chart here, we can see just a monster of a midfield player. So he's a guy you are going to build around, only 26 years old as well. So Declan Rice, of course, is going to be one of the most important players. Bukayo Saka, and again, we are looking at just a phenomenal player. This is top level on the game. There won't be many with better stats than this. His physical ones are excellent. Mental attributes are fantastic as well, though does need to work a little bit on his positioning. And then his technical ones, of course, also fantastic. So you're probably looking here at a guy who could score, 15 goals and get 15 assists from the wing with Saka, but we all know that already, one of the best players. In terms of the next players, we've got three here all rated 4 stars by the assistant. Gabriel, a rock solid centre back, of course, fantastic in terms of his defensive technical attributes. His mental attributes are fantastic, and his physical ones are also strong as well. I mean, look at those aerial stats, 18 there. You can see why he scores so many goals from corners. And we move on to his centre-back partner, William Saliba, who, much like Gabriel, is just an absolute monster. A bit more in terms of physical, in terms of pace, but a rock-solid player, and, one that you can build around 24 years of age. Martin Odegaard, who we'll also look at, who's going to be, technically one of the best players. And we see here with his passing, his technique, his vision, his teamwork, all these things are exactly what you'd want. And look at this chart here. Pretty much perfect when it comes to his technical and vision. There won't be many better number 10s in the game than Martin Odegaard. And then we look, and we've got lots of players who are in the 3-star range, and we'll tick through some of these here. Victor Gyökeres, I think, is a one worth looking at. 17 finishing, decent physical attributes as well, which are, ideal for the sort of team Arsenal are. Good aggression, good bravery, good determination, good work rate as well. And you can see this a lot with the Arsenal players. They've all got very good work rate. And Gyökeres could score 20-plus goals in the Premier League for Arsenal, 27 years of age as well. So at the peak of his powers. Let's have a look at Kai Havertz now, a big player for Arsenal, can obviously play in the 10 or in the striker position. Again, we are looking at good mental attributes, good physical. You can see the drop-off compared to, say, an Odegaard here, but Kai Havertz is still going to be a big player for your save, and still just 26 years of age. It feels like he's been around for a long time. Martin Zubimendi, he's going to be one of those in the midfield, in the engine room, doing a lot of the dirty work, really good passing, tackling technique, good first touch. His mental attributes are all fantastic as well. Decent, if not outstanding physical attributes, but a really, really top level player. Certainly in the Premier League, he's going to be fitting like a glove. We'll look at Noni Madueke next, and this is, going to be cover on the wing, you would think, but really, really solid attributes here. Good physicals, pretty decent technical ones, good dribbling, which you can probably utilize a lot. Defensively, not the best, and that is the area of concern with him. So, you're not going to be using him away at Real Madrid, but certainly when you're playing against the fodder in the Premier League, he's going to be a big player. Jurgen Timber, a player that I love in real life, and again, just a solid player. Can play pretty much anywhere across the back and in midfield, which is exactly what you want. Good mental attributes, good physical attributes, technically not too bad either. And yeah, look at that there, perfect for a fullback. Fantastic stuff. Let's look at David Raya, the goalkeeper for Arsenal. And, I think the game is possibly underrating him a little bit. I think that he's in certainly the top sort of 2 or 3 goalkeepers in the Premier League. And you look at good handling, good kicking, his stats are pretty good, but I think that, there's some things here which I think he probably deserves a little bit of a higher rating on. But yeah, a good chart overall, a decent player. You won't be looking to replace your goalkeeper anytime soon. Let's have a look at Emirates Eze, a player as well who in real life is just fantastic to watch. We've got a player can play pretty much anywhere in the attacking third, fantastic dribbling skills, good technique, good passing, good long shooting. We've also got flair, which some of the Arsenal players, there's some players that don't have tons of that with Arsenal. Good agility, good balance, very, very good player overall, and certainly will be useful having him and Martin Odegaard flipping out of that number 10 position. Who else can we look at in this team here? Piero Hincampi, who they bought this past summer. He looks like he's going to be a pretty solid all-round defensive player. We've also got Trossard. We'll click in on him, and overall kind of a player that, as Arsenal use in real life, just decent in a number of positions across the attack. But overall, you'd say this Arsenal squad is very well positioned for a strong season. In terms of the most valuable players, Declan Rice, Saka, no real surprises there. Martinelli, I don't think we've looked at him yet, but, fantastic acceleration and pace. And, you'd be using him, as Arsenal do in real life, just to hurt teams on the counter-attack. But let's have a look at the under-21 squad. Let's see about the best younger players that are in there. Tommy Sedford, Marcel Washington, Will Sweet, we've got a few good prospects in here. I won't click on them all, but it is worth looking at, some decent players in there. Under 18s, and we've got a few players in here that look potentially interesting as well. And is there anyone in the first team we've missed in terms of high potential players? Ethan Nwaneri we have not looked at yet, so let's have a look at him. 18 years old on the game, and he is going to turn into, and considering he's got years of growth on the game, he's going to turn into a really scarily good player, Nwaneri. So definitely one you want to build around. Miles Lewis Skelly as well, 18 years old. Again, look at those physical attributes, perfect for the Premier League, decent mental, and these technical ones are only going to get better over time. But again, he's a player that you can rely on to play in the Premier League. We move into the recruitment, and we see here for Arsenal, you have a transfer budget of £23.5 million and a wage bill of £200,000 per week. So that gives you enough to buy in, a top level sort of player, certainly them wages. Obviously, the transfer fee, you could spread the fee around. So if you wanted to address a particular area of the team, this transfer budget would allow you to do that in the first window, particularly with that £200,000 wage bill. In terms of the club itself, let's have a look at some of the club vision. So this is the 5-year plan for Arsenal, and this is, what you were expected to do. So it's required to reach the latter stages of the UEFA Champions League and to challenge for the Premier League title in year one. Also wants you to challenge for the FA Cup and be competitive in the Carabao Cup. So the domestic competitions in terms of the FA and Carabao Cup aren't all that important, but the Premier League and the Champions League are what's important. But interestingly, it's a challenge for the Premier League title. So you won't expect to win it, just expect to make a good fist of it. But in the second season, it is challenging for both the Champions League and the Premier League. Then the season after that, we're talking about winning the Champions League and winning the Premier League. And the idea is basically you have one season's grace to get the team sort of pushing in the right direction. And then after that, we are looking at winning the Premier League title. In terms of the fans, they want to finish above Spurs, finish above Man United, finish above Chelsea, finish above Liverpool, and win the Premier League. So that's what they want to do in the season. And look, finishing above Spurs and winning the Premier League are the two main objectives. And the culture at the club is play attacking football and play entertaining football as well. Let's have a look at the staff. So you've got 8 vacant roles for the coaching team, 14 for the recruitment. So you can really expand out the club's recruitment and scouts and medical staff as well. You can also add in some new medical staff to this team. So there's plenty you can do in terms of improving that. Finances, the club have got a very healthy bank balance, £294 million. Wage bill is at 4.4 million, which is obviously, it's a lot, but for a club like Arsenal that generates tons of money, it is no surprise. And then here we have the look of the balance going forward. I don't know how we end up in negative money, 9.74 million after having 294 million in the bank, but it is what it is. FFP compliant debts and loans, there are still a lot of debts and whatnot to cover. And then in terms of the facilities, the stadium's in immaculate condition. We've got excellent corporate, superb training, excellent youth, excellent academy, good youth recruitment. So we can improve some of these things. The stadium, of course, is one of the best. Pitch is perfect, as you can imagine. And in terms of injuries, when you load into the game for Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, and Hincapie are all out. So we look at each. Let's have a look to see what their injuries are expected to be. And we've got a injury for 2 to 5 weeks. So you'll have him back for the start of the season. Kai Havertz is a bit of a longer term one. We expect him back in 4 to 5 months. So he's going to miss the first half of the season. And Gabriel Jesus, who we didn't actually look at, but is still rated pretty highly. He has a torn ACL, so we expect to see him in 5 to 6 months. So Havertz and Jesus, we aren't expected to see for a while. And let's just quickly, before we go off, have a look at the league table. Let's look at the media prediction for the league table. And Arsenal are expected to finish 3rd. Liverpool, Man City expect to finish top 2. Newcastle, interestingly, predicted to finish in 4th place. And then we've got Chelsea, Man United, Spurs down in 7th. There we go. That is the expectation for the media prediction for the season. So thanks for watching this video. Please leave a like and tell us in the comments below who you bought as your first players as Arsenal boss. And we'll catch you for another Football Manager guide in the near future.